this is Lavinia at Cross Keys Crafts. Today with another video using my Lavinia stamps. After quite a few months doing something different, doing fancy folds and Christmas cards in July obviously, I'm sort of coming back into using my Lavinia stamps. And I thought I'm starting a sort of new series which is not really new to Lavinians, because what it is me following the creative challenge set by Lavinia stamps. I don't know why I hardly ever take part. I sometimes post an old card or old picture I have made, but I hardly ever really follow it. And I do actually like a challenge, but I think I'm sometimes a bit intimidated by the makes that other crafters submit, although the winner of the challenge is just chosen at random. It's got nothing to do how good or not good your picture is. So yeah, I thought I'd just start this. And my idea is this month to actually put these pictures into an album. I actually had forgotten about this. I was given this sort of journal album or whatever you want to call it. I think, I'm not even sure where it's from, whether my husband bought it for something else and never used it. But I thought I'm going to just follow the challenge every month and put the pictures in there, because to be honest, I've got plenty of cards at the moment. So the topic this month for September, and the challenge runs till the 25th of September, so I need to get a move on. The topic this month is, if I don't remember it incorrectly, is Enchanted Forest. And when I read the theme a few weeks ago, again, I was sort of intimidated. Do I have to create a forest scene? Do I have enough trees for that? So I want to really keep it simple. What I have dug out is one of the sticker stencils, which is this tree. And I've also got the Christmas tree group. I don't have many fir trees at all. I've only got this one, and I've got one of the taller ones that I could use, but I decided to not for this. And I've also got some of the foxes. I will link to all the stamps below. Can't remember whether this is fox set 1 or 2. And I will also tell you which sticker stencil set this is from. So when I just peeled this off the release paper here, this is still very, very sticky. I've used it once before, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it sticky side down onto my t-shirt, and that just takes the stick off a little bit, and it's easier to remove that. I have cut myself a piece, I'm just checking again, that is 7 by 7 inches. The album is 8 by 8, so I thought I can work on a bigger scale here. And I'm just placing this sort of in the middle. And my aim is with this series not to overthink it. What I do need though here at the top and at the bottom, I need a little bit of extra tape so that I don't accidentally ink blend outside this area there. So this is just some low-tack tape. This is my Scotch removable. I really like that, and that just protects the top and the bottom bit. I've got fluff and all these things, that doesn't matter. So, and I just want to put some ink down here, so I'm just sticking this down properly here, and I've just chosen to start with the Lavinia Elements Pine. This is a sort of a medium green. I know my ink pad is not too juicy. I just want to create a little bit of a background. This will really just be background. I don't want to create the scene just within this area. I just want to have a few more trees and just do the stamping. That's all it is. I'm just thinking, that's really just a very spontaneous idea. I think I might do some stenciling within this mask as well. I think that could be nice, or within this sticker stencil. So it's really not a lot, but it will be enough against the white there. So I'm just quickly choosing a stencil that I think would work with that, and then I'll come back. I just grabbed this stencil. I think it's called Dynamic. I'm not sure. It was one of the few I could find at the moment, but I think it'll work nicely. With this one again, I need to be sort of mindful that I'm not ink blending outside my sticker stencil, so I will actually put a little bit of a marker here and the same on the top. Otherwise I think I'll be fine seeing the green through this. So all I'm doing is I'm using the same ink and I'm just applying ink through the stencil and through the dynamic stencil and through the sticker stencil. And that will mean these areas, the exposed areas, will be darker, and then where the top stencil is, those areas will be lighter, which is a nice technique, I think. So I'm being very careful at the bottom. If you're not sure, you can always sort of put it on an angle and then lift it up, and maybe you have to put it down again, but I think this is fine. So I'm going to peel this off, and I would like to offset this on the left and the right as well. So if you can't take it off, if you find your paper tears, I'm just working on my UK Craft 300 years. Use your heat tool to warm up the glue a little bit, but I'm fine. Look how pretty that is. I really like that. You can make a very simple Christmas card with this. I think that would look really good. So I want to offset this a little bit. So I'm putting the same tree next to it, but I want to go, do I want to go lower or higher? I will go higher because I want this to be in the background. What I could have done is do the left and right first and then have this one in the front, but all I want to do is, with the residue of the ink I've got on my ink blending brush, just go in on the back. I'm not going too much over that area. I really just want a hint so that it looks I've got another tree there. So got a bit of white there, but that's okay. So, and then I'm doing the same on the other side. Can you see how quickly I've got another tree there? So maybe not even on the same height, maybe I'll vary that as well, just to give it some interest and not make it look too symmetrical. So now I need to pick up a little bit more colour, but I'll see if I've got enough in the lid here, because I really don't want to have too much. So I'm going in with a light application. And if I find there's not enough colour coming off, then I can increase the pressure. Just put my sticky tape again on the top. Making sure I'm going to all the edges there. And I find a soft ink blending brush works better here than one that actually shows brush strokes. So when I peel that off, there we go, I've got a hint of a forest there. You could continue this, obviously. You could introduce different greens. So I could maybe have done if in hindsight, I could maybe have done this one afterwards and in a darker green with a little bit more application so that it really overlaps the others. But I'm really pleased with this. So I'm going to quickly clean this sticker stencil. By the way, in the past I've struggled to actually place this back on where the positive is. So I'm just sticking this on the back, and then I don't need to align the tree properly, as long as it's protected and keeps its stickiness there. So as I said, I'm cleaning this all up a little bit, and then I will be doing some very basic stamping. For my trees, I have chosen the Versifying Clair Verdant because I just want those to be in the background as well. I just want to create basically a little bit of texture in the background. So I think I will stamp them in second generation stamping. I've got a bit of scrap paper here, so I'm just inking my stamp up as usual. And then I'm stamping it off once. And then I'm coming in. I will go all over it. It's sort of not supposed to be a realistic scene because obviously I would have to do some masking here, which you can do with the other part of the sticker stencil, but I actually want to stamp this all over. This is actually not as dark as I thought I want this, but I'm sticking with this because if I go over that again, I'll probably won't get it in the same place. So I'm just doing the other side as well. So it's more or less like ghost trees, but that's okay. With this project, I just don't want to overthink it. That's what I meant earlier. You know, quite often we think, oh, I've ruined it now. It's not what I thought it should be. But I think I have to remind myself quite often as well that I should have a play. Just have a play, enjoy crafting, and not thinking you have to create something great every single time. So with this one now, I'm going to stamp a little bit lower, and I'm stamping in the first generation. So just thinking which level. I'll probably just do it like this. So it's not a natural look as such, because obviously the background shouldn't be like that, but obviously it is an enchanted forest, so I think it's okay for that. Yeah, I think I'll leave it like that. As I said, I could do some more here. I could do some ink blending on the bottom. I might do that actually, just to give the trees a little bit of a base. So let me just pick a colour for that, and then I will be stamping the foxes. I decided to just come in with a pine again, but I've got this thin stencil brush, so I'll just pick my ink up with that, and then I really just want to create a little bit of a base. I hope I've got enough ink on there. You could come in with a watercolor pencil. This is actually not very juicy. Might have to choose a darker one. Disappears. Obviously it disappears quite a bit because it's the same color, but one thing I want to do is take away, let me just zoom in a little bit, from these sort of white areas, because I really want these trees to have a bit of a base. So doing that here as well, yeah, that shows up a little bit more. Yeah, I think I'm happy with that. It's not a lot, but I think it does make a difference. Sorry for going off camera there. So for the foxes, I have picked two colours. I've got the Versifying Clair Summertime, and I've got the Pine Cone. So I'm going to ink up my first fox in the Summertime. They are, by the way, a bit stained. That is from using some red ink on them. But it doesn't change the way they work. So, and then I'm coming in with another stencil brush, and I'm going to apply some of the pine cone. So put a bit on the base. I showed that technique recently with a squirrel. So I'm having a bit on the nose, a bit on the ears, just dabbing it along there and there. So it's not much. I hope I didn't go off camera there. So, and then just thinking which way the other one looks. Oh, I accidentally put my light on there. Let me just switch that off again. So I want this to sit in front of the trees, and I think I place him here, which leaves me enough space for the other fox. So as always with VersaFine Clay, give it enough time to seep into the cardstock. Don't be tempted to lift it straight off. You can obviously use a stamping platform for that, but I think that's fine. So let me just lift that up. So I've got some speckled areas here, but I really like that. And can you see the brown on the fox? That's really just a little hint. So I'm going to do the same with the other fox. I'll quickly do this off camera. He will be sitting here somewhere. Obviously, where you stamp over the green area, yeah, that will shine through. But I'm okay with that, yeah, because once I finish with the fox, giving him an eye and a few details, I think he will that will sort of disappear and won't be too obvious. If you find you have stamped it and you're not happy with the white in there, I've got quite a bit of a patch here, don't hesitate to come in with your ink again and a little brush. So I can use my stencil brush, pick up the ink, not too much, and I can sort of dab that on. I don't want to lose this speckled look I've got of the stamping there, so just dabbing that on, and then that disappears, and because it's the same colour, it will blend in really nicely. So I just had a thought. First of all, I've forgotten that these foxes sort of look in the same direction. I actually thought they were looking at each other, which they obviously don't. So I think I need something for this fox to look at, and maybe, well, this one can be looking at this one, looking up. And also at the moment, it's not really enchanted yet. So I think I've got an idea. I need to introduce something else that makes it enchanted. Just a few little stamps. So let me just dig those out. So I decided to use the 3 dancing fairies here. Obviously you could use butterflies, birds, you've got plenty of those. But I think these fairies would look lovely flying in the forest. So I can have one really low up here for this fox to look at, and definitely at least another one coming in up there. And I'm wondering whether this one could sit somewhere, but maybe not. Could sit on this tree. I think that would work. Yeah, I'll give it a try. So, and for the colour, I don't want to do any stamping in black because I've got the foxes in orange, so I'm coming in with a Fantasia, which is a purple. I think that's very apt for fairies. And I've also got an idea in a moment to blend this purple in. So this one will float in here. So I'm leaving this in real time so you can see how long I actually keep the stamp on there. There we go. And for this one I will move it a little bit closer to me. I try not to go off camera. I really want to place this like it's sitting on the top. Not sure what it will be reaching up for, but anyway. Yeah, that's fine. I think these are good fun. I don't like all the fairies at Lavinia, but I really like these little ones. So, and then just sort of to find some sort of movement. I don't want it on the same height. I think this could just be flying in here. Yeah, that'll be fine. So, 2 more things I want to do. One I really like to do is use a black gel pen. This is a glaze pen, and that is to give the foxes some eyes. So I always test it on the side, making sure it's flowing freely, because I do get lumpy with time. So I do need my glasses for that though, bear with me. So I can see now what I'm doing. So just a dot on the nose. Oh, this is still bleeding. I do apologise if I get my head in the way. It's coming in from the side now. So, and then just a little eye. That's all I need. So, and the other thing is, because the fairies are rather dark now and sort of pop up, I thought I'm going to give the whole thing a frame with a flying fig. I've got the option now, bringing in another stencil and doing a frame, sort of a stenciled frame, or to just have a basic ink blending frame. I think I will come in with a stencil if I find one big enough. They do different sizes at Lavinia, but I've got this is 7 by 7, so I think that could be fine. Oh, and another thing I have forgotten is to give the foxes a base. So as I did before with the tree, I will just use my stencil brush here. I will probably just use some brown, some truffle, and just give them a little bit of a base. I quickly do this off camera. I'm placing a little bit of scrap paper over the eyes and the noses here, because I'm a bit worried that I will smear that with my stencil. So hopefully this way they'll stay in place, even if they're not wet. Even if they're still wet, sorry. So I'm just placing my stencil all over here. If you want to, you can just do 2 corners. You don't have to have this all over, especially if you don't have a full stencil. You can come in from the corners and not do it all over. But I want to just do this quickly now, because I just realized I have to be at work in 20 minutes. If you don't know what I'm doing, I've got my own pub, so at work means downstairs in 20 minutes. So this is really juicy, so I'm coming in on the corners with a heavier application. Oh, this is very juicy. I might have to take that off a little bit on some more scrap paper. It's a lovely colour, it's really nice, but it's probably a bit too dark for this. So what I'm doing here is just taking the ink off, and then I'm just working with the residue I've got here and just work my way around. I really want this to fade a little bit. So I'm moving my way up, and then I can have a heavy application again, being mindful not to have any ink on my fingers that accidentally ends up on the card. So yeah, definitely test that the old ink pad is not too juicy. You can always come in with another layer, so I shouldn't really have done that, but never mind. As I said, I don't want to be too critical with my stuff. I want to just play with it and yeah, really enjoy using these lovely stamps and stencils. So as you can see, I'm going in circular motions. That's the best way to catch the details of this. So I'm checking also how far I'm going in on this side and this side. I think I'm happy with that, but I just want to take really the rest of the ink off here now. Sorry if I'm going a bit off camera. And just see if I can just blend this in a little bit more, just to have it sort of faded. One thing you obviously are doing is the ink that you've got on the stencil, you're still moving that about. So if you're not sure, keep your finger in the middle and lift it up. Oh my god, that purple is amazing. I think I really like that. Just testing that side. I'll tell you what, I will go a little bit closer to the trees. So just with a residue, just following this sort of triangular shape there, going in a little bit in the middle here. And then I can do the same at the bottom, just framing the image a little bit more rather than having a square frame. I just don't want to get too close to the foxes. Oh, apologies, that's my tummy rumbling. So I think I'll take this off now. How cool is that? Let me just this out of the way. Lift this up here. Yeah, the eyes were fine. How cool is that? I'm really happy with that. So one finishing touch I thought I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in my pastel pen for a little bit of white on the fairies and on the foxes, and then just a little bit of glitter for the fairy wings. I thought at first I'd put some glitter on the trees, but these are really just a background, a backdrop, so I don't want to enhance them. I could put a little bit of glitter on the foxes if they're magic too, but I'll have a little think. So this is my pastel pen. Of course you could use a gel pen as well. So we just want a little bit of highlight on the fairies, maybe a little bit on the arms. They are very delicate, so I really just want a hint just to break up the solid purple as well. Ideally I think I would actually sharpen that a little bit. So I think that's all I want. We'll just zoom in to see what I've done. I even tilted a little bit to the camera. So it's just a hint of white there. And I'm doing the same on the foxes. That blends in even a bit nicer. So just so they're not too much of a silhouette. So I just assume the light source comes from up there, although this fairy's got a light source somewhere else. Not overthinking it. So, and for the fairy's wings, I've got some stickers here. Oh, let me zoom out again before I go off camera. So because normally I apply this straight, but because they are so delicate, I will actually put it here on the side and pick it up with a brush. So I'm just spreading it out a little bit, and then I can apply it on the wings here. The glue will dry and then leave behind the glitter. You could just use a shimmer pen if you want to, you know, like a Wink of Stella. I've got them in different colours as well. I could do that, but I really like to use my stickers. Apart from that, I've got 2 of those bottles because I bought a second one when I went to the Dreamatorium, not being able to remember if I already had that colour. So I better start using it up. So I'm going to leave that here. You see what I'm doing, because as I said, it's time for me to go to work too soon. But I'm really pleased with this. I hope I could give you plenty of ideas what you can do. And as I said, my biggest tip is just do it. Just start doing it. Don't judge yourself. You know, I think sometimes the sort of happy accidents, like putting the frame around this in this magnificent purple, makes such a difference, and I'm really pleased with this. And this, as I said, is my first picture to go into my new album. I'm really pleased with this. Yeah, and if you like my tutorial, you might want to give me a thumbs up, and I'd really be happy if you commented, subscribed and shared my video. And I'll see you again soon with another video.